Hi, I'm Rita Wilkins, also known as the Downsizing Designer. So I want to share a quick story with you about something that happened today. It was from a very close friend who was in tears because she had a conversation with her son about taking his things out of their home because they want to declutter and downsize, and he's just refusing. So it's something that many of us are having to deal with right now. And of course, going back to school, whether they're going back to college, whether they're starting out on their career, or maybe they've even been out of the house for a while and are on their own in their own house or their own apartment. But bottom line is, there comes a time when our older children have to take responsibility for their own stuff. So I wanted to share a blog with you that I've written a couple of years ago, but it's still appropriate today. And so it's called What Do You Do When Your Kids Leave Home, but the kids leave their stuff behind? So for those of you who are trying to declutter, get ready to downsize or age in place, you're wondering with your adult kids how to get them to remove their stuff that might be sitting in their childhood bedrooms, your attic, your garage, your basement, wherever, maybe all of the above. And this is a real problem, and it's an emotional one for many baby boomers who are in their 60s, who are trying to declutter, downsize, and live a simpler life with less stuff. So you might just want to reclaim your space, so you can convert that extra unused bedroom to a guest room, a home office, a yoga room, craft room, whatever. You might actually want to declutter the space because it's causing frustration and upset every time you walk by that area. And you might also just want your adult children now living on their own to take responsibility for their own stuff because they've, and remove that stuff from your home. So after all, you're tired of having them use your home as their personal storage unit. And that sounds very hard, but it's really not. And probably we had a similar situation at some point when our parents said, it's time. So of course, there are always extenuating circumstances to store their stuff in our home. For me, my younger son went into the Marines, and I had to store his stuff in my basement for a number of years, and then he went into the Peace Corps. So that was an even longer time, but it was my way of supporting him while he was serving our country and then serving in Senegal, West Africa, in the Peace Corps. But when he returned home, I was already starting to declutter because I had decided to downsize. So no matter what, he needed to sort through all of his stuff from high school and college and deal with his stuff in whatever way he chose to. And that kind of wasn't my responsibility. So he knew that, and he totally understood it. So in some ways, this was a very easy way to address the situation because they had no choice. I was downsizing, I was selling my home, and I was moving. So they had a timeline. And so other extenuating circumstances, of course, might be that the older child lives in a tiny apartment. They're waiting to be able to buy a house, get a bigger apartment, and they want to save for their first home. But bottom line is, there comes a time when it's time for adult children to officially move out of our home, to remove their belongings that they've left behind when they go off to college or begin their careers. And it's also time for them to stop feeling that it's okay to store their college textbooks, high school yearbooks, clothing, trophies, memorabilia from all of their childhood days. And it's not okay for them to assume that they can continue to store their stuff in your basement, your attic, or your garage, or their bedroom in perpetuity. So perhaps you've broached the subject many times before, but to no avail. Perhaps you're afraid that you'll alienate your adult child, or perhaps you're wondering if they'll ever decide to move, just how much of their stuff is, if they'll even ever understand, I should say, how much this is impacting your life, because you too want to start over. You want to declutter, downsize, start your own new life. And as many of you know, the subject can be sensitive and it can become a big issue with your adult child. And it's that elephant in the room that we often don't talk about, but it really doesn't have to be that way. So there are a couple of tips that I want to pass by, and there's actually 3 different ways that you can have this conversation with your kids and get some action when when they leave home, but their stuff doesn't. So the first one is to engage them, ask for their assistance and for their cooperation, and give them a deadline. So this obviously is my personal favorite, and probably one that works the best. Tell them that you're preparing your home to downsize, move to a smaller home. Tell them that you want to declutter because you're wanting to age in place and you need that space. Or tell them that you want to live a simpler life with less clutter so that you have more time, freedom to enjoy your life and pursue other interests and travel more and so forth. And you don't want to be bogged down by clutter, both yours and theirs. And then you might tell them that you want to free up space in their childhood bedroom or basement to create a new home office or additional guest room, yoga room, craft room, whatever it is that you want. But have that conversation with them. And the bottom line is you need the space and you're requesting their help in dealing with their own stuff. So when I decided to downsize, I approached both of my sons and asked them if they would help me by sorting through their stuff in the garage, the basement, and also their bedrooms. And I asked if they would remove it from my house by a designated date. This really worked well for me. There was no drama, just cooperation, because I was clear about what needed to happen and by when. The second way that you can handle this would be to sort through their stuff yourself and then box it up. So take time to sort through their items and create 3 separate piles: dispose, donate, or keep, and then box up the keep and then distribute their stuff by one of these 3 methods. So one is called the drip method. So every time that you see them, they come over to your house or you go to theirs. Little by little, those boxes, which you hand them, will disappear over time. The second method is the pickup method. So just ask them if they will pick up the saved boxes by a specific date. If they don't do so, then let them know that you'll have to donate or dispose them. And that might make them pick them up. And then the third method is what I call the special delivery method. So if they resist and don't respond by the requested time to pick them up, deliver the boxes directly to their home yourself or by a carrier. Now, obviously, you don't want it to escalate into something, but sometimes you just have to do the hard stuff. Number 3 is to get their buy-in if they live out of the area by taking pictures. So I've had a number of people do this because their kids live cross country. And as you sort through their items, take pictures of those things that you think that they're going to want to keep. And then send those pictures to them and ask them to respond by a certain date. And ideally, within a couple of days. And then box up those keep items and either mail them to them, or if there's so much stuff, at their expense, rent a storage unit until such time that they can deal with their stuff in person. So each of these 3 methods works if you're seeking that more minimalist lifestyle, living with less. They do, however, require strength on your part, some tough love, to have that difficult and emotional conversation and address the issue head on. Don't let it get swept under the rug. And then the determination on your part and persistence to follow through. Don't take no for an answer, so you can actually make it happen. And then tough love. So stand your ground while loving them in spite of their obstinance or their resistance. And when all is said and done, if it's handled well, not only will you reclaim your home as your own, but you also gain that newfound respect from your kids for setting those boundaries and keeping the boundaries. So I do hope that these will help those of you who are struggling with this problem. and how to prevent your adult kids from using your home as their personal storage unit. And that you find these methods useful. So obviously, I'd love to hear from you. Let me know how it goes. And if you have other methods that have worked for you, please share them with me, because that's why I do what I do, because I just pass on a lot of information that I get from you. And also, make sure that you visit my website, Design Services Ltd, and also go to my YouTube channel, Rita Wilkins, and you will see over 800 videos, about 800 blogs, all about this kind of subject that impacts you.